I have looked around the garage and I found some U-bolts. These two, I believe, are the right length for 100E. This one is slightly longer, but might still do for 100E. These two are longer still and would probably do, but would probably need spacers. The reason I've been looking for these is because these U-bolts don't look very good. I was thinking I might take the axle off and clean and replace maybe the U-bolts. Just clean everything up because they don't look great. You know, and I could clean the springs up as well. They might be okay actually, but I think it would be good to get them off, clean the axle, clean the springs, just get everything really cleaned up. You know, it's just having that rust encrusted in between everything isn't good, is it? So yeah, anyway, so I have found some U-bolts I can use if any of these prove not to be any good. Okay, right out. Kind of pre-planning a job for another day really, and to be honest, tidying up under here would be a job that I ought to do. So yeah, okay, right out. I'll bring you back when there's something to show. Cheers then. Those are my U-bolts there, and I found one more of the shorter ones there, this one here. So I'll show you this. This is a die. It's very dirty. From the very first tap and die set that I bought years ago, had these dies. They're not split, and but they are UNF. And this is a die holder that I bought at a garage sale. And what I remember doing at the time was shortening the handles so that I could clean U-bolts up with it. Now I'm talking, you know, this was 30 years ago plus and longer. So I've been using this today to clean the threads up on those U-bolts there, and I'm going to use it here. And what happens, it screws on and then it goes a bit tight. So what I do when it gets a bit tight, I've got this piece of scrap tubing, so I'll just put that on there like that. You get the idea. Okay, I'm better off using two hands, so I'll stop filming there, but you can see that I've made a purpose-made die stock purely for doing this job. I have got a die nut somewhere and you can use a socket on it, which is easy, but I don't want to make too much racket at the moment, so because it's quite late in the evening here. Okay, so that's what I've been doing anyway. So I've now got 300E ones and one that is slightly longer that I'm pretty sure I could use, but for now I'm just tinkering and I'm doing this. It's nice and quiet, and at least I've found 3 U-bolts. I might find a 4th one yet, although I think I remember modifying one of these for a specific job. Okay, righto, catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. You know when there's what they're saying, an itch that you have to scratch? Well, I want to look at the back axle. I've done a round of welding. I'm quite pleased with my progress. I've got lots more to do, but I thought I would have a little change. The back axle is there's a lot of sort of corrosion build up between the U-bolts and the axle and the perches and the springs. So what I've just done, first of all I had a bit of a sweep up, As you can see, I've missed a bit because I've moved the axle stand from there to there, so they're now just under the springs like that. So I'm in a position where I could actually take the axle off, and the thrust of the job will be to clean up all the area around where the U-bolts go, possibly and probably fit some other U-bolts. And what I would also like to do is change the seals in the axle. They are inside the axle. The axle has to be dismantled. This is one of the reasons why I haven't tried to bleed the brakes yet, because I kind of thought in the back of my mind that I might be dismantling the rear end. I've taken off the handbrake mechanism. I've got other things I'll need to undo yet, but what I've just done is taken this die nut and ran it up the threads here up to the nut, and so when I'm trying to undo the nuts, it's not trying to come off over really rusty stuff. So I've cleaned the threads and I've just gone on with this socket, and they are moving. They're all moving. I've cracked them all off with my big ratchet. So what I think I'll do now, I'll whiz them off using the air gun. I don't do a lot of filming of the job because it takes so much editing. I think just saying what I'm going to do and then showing you when it's done is probably the best way. I mean, those threads actually do look okay, don't they? There's the plate on the shock absorber there. I haven't got any new shock absorbers or new bushes or anything, so more or less got to leave that just on there. Okay, right, there's the U-bolts off. Okay, good. Right, I'll do the same on the other side and take the prop shaft off and get the axle out. This one and that one have been really difficult. Not wanted to come off, but I've just about got it to go. Well, I believe I have. Okay. Right. I damaged that one slightly because I hit it with a chisel and split it, but I probably didn't realise I had, so I kept hammering at it. Looks a bit thin though, doesn't it? So that one's scrap anyway. That one's not going to get used. Luckily, you know, I've got some others. I haven't got a full set of 4 though, so I'm looking for one that I can use from this set. Yeah, that one's thin as well, isn't it? That one there didn't want to come undone. But, okay. So, where's that? So there's that nut there. The two here just rounded off. So, on the one, I hammered on this 6-sided socket, 15mm, and that got that one off. And on the other one, can you see this shape of socket? It's like the opposite of a Torx drive. this one wouldn't hammer on. So basically that one there is the next size down of one of those, and I really hammered that on, so it's kind of really dug in, and that got it undone. Sometimes you have to kind of get a bit medieval on its ass. Okay, righto. In theory now the axle is loose and should be able to come out. Okay. Oh, and I've busted the hubs as well. Busted the hubs loose. For the few seconds it takes to undo those 4 nuts using one of those and the brake unit in there, I've opted to just take these off to keep them safe. Well, it's out. Bit of a strange sort of heave-ho limbo dance underneath the car there, but I got it out. It's just occurred to me that it probably would have been a good idea to have drained it. I'll get a couple of crates set up and get it on a couple of crates and drain it. Okay, righto, back in a bit then. Hello. I lifted the axle up onto these retro 60s chairs, stools. I remember sitting on stools like that when I was a kid. And I've drained the oil out. And what I've now done, which I hope will be okay, is I've put that pipe vise on the end of this table. I'm thinking I'm going to set the axle vertically there, hopefully. I've never tried it before, but I hope it'll fit. So I'll do that then, and I'll bring you back when it's in there. Hello, I lifted that in there. It went in okay actually. Quite pleased with that. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this sort of axle, but basically you take out that circle of bolts there, and this side of the axle casing lifts off. The pinion, the ring gear is on this side, so you can take the 2 drive shafts out and the crown wheel, and that enables you to change the seal, which is there and there. Then you can just put everything back in, and as long as you haven't destroyed the gasket, you can put the, put it back together again, and Robert's your father's brother. Should be all right, shouldn't it? And I've kind of pulled on it. It's not close to tipping. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. That's good, that is. It's a decent working height. I'll have a little scrape around then, and I'll see if them bolts will come out. They should do. Okay, catch you later then. Bye. Got the bolts out. I'll give it a little bit of a clean up with just a wire brush. It's quite late in the evening, so I don't want to use a grinder. But I've got to break this gasket face now. I've took that key out of there. Oh, look, I just leant on that then without any force, and it's kind of, the gasket's gone anyway. Just let me see if I can. It'd be good if I can do it without breaking the gasket, but I'll have to put a little bit of sealant on. Okay, I need 2 hands now. Maybe I'll just get the tripod. Where's the tripod? Hello, Meg. Hello, baby. Hello, sweetie. Come see what Daddy's doing. That's relatively good. There's a break in the gasket there, but it's remained in place. And that seal that I've got to get out is right up the other end of there. Right at the other end, up there. I didn't show you these, did I? These are the oil seals. Pay-in oil seals. I was just pleased to see that it wasn't all full of rust and horrible stuff. So what I think I'll do, as soon as it's rather late now, I will leave this to drain overnight. That's just slowly all dripping through there. Then tomorrow I will tackle that seal right down the bottom there. You can't really see it. That can just sit there draining overnight, just draining down and dripping into that bowl. Okay, and the other piece is just sitting there. Yeah, okay, yeah, interesting. Never had one apart before. Never done one before, so yeah, okay. It'll look different in the morning because a lot of this oil will have drained down, I would hope. Okay, I'll leave it for now then, and I'll pick up the job tomorrow. Hello. It's the next day. It's not a very nice day today, a bit rainy. You can see why I wanted to, you know, take this apart and clean it up here. I've just turned the axle up the other way, this axle half, and in there you can just about see the seal there. So I'm hoping that with this shape of this blade I can get in behind the seal and knock it out downwards. Excuse my messy garage, it's always messy. Done it. I'm just trying to look at it to double check which way round it is. I know which way round I think in my mind that it wants to go. I went in with a screwdriver like that. So this is the up side, the outside. So the seal is positioned to try and keep the oil in the axle, which is the obvious way around that you would think. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. It's even got the number there, look. I don't know if you can see it, but I can read it. 1711C. 1711C. Cool, man. It's got a decent amount of preload, hasn't it? Okay, so I've got to get that into that axle now. I'm going to see if I can find something that I can use to knock this in. Right, I've got a concoction of various things here. I've got a socket that goes through the seal, another socket that sits on this socket, and a selection of 3/8 drives, and I'm going to use the 3/8 drives to lower the seal in, and they're going to come in from this side with a 1/2 inch drive selection. So I'm going to try and put these down through here. I think the idea is okay. The idea is to lower it in, that'll sit there, and then I'll come in this side and punch it in. The idea is that you can use that to just manipulate it very gently to try and get it square. Look, bear in mind, I've never done this before. I've done it on an early Ford, but I use like washers and a threaded rod. Now this is where I'm going to knock it in with. Can't really see much down here. Let's try giving it a bit of a bump. That's got the socket out, look. I think that might have done it. I'll get it out and have a look. I just put my finger down the end and felt the seal, because it's hard to tell from this angle whether it's the right way around or not, but it is the right way around because I've put my finger down and felt it, and you can see that it is seated. I have to say that it was hard to sense any massive amount of resistance to driving it in, but it is driven in, so that's okay, I suppose. So let me swap the other axle casing in and I'll do the other side exactly the same. That allows me to wobble it to get it straight, and this socket fits close to the OD of the seal, and the other socket that's in there goes up inside there. You can see the socket down the bottom there and the seal just sitting there. So I'm going to feed this one in down to sit on top of it if I can. Just kind of try and get it straight and get a feel for it. I'll give it a bump with the hammer now. Oops, that worked really well, didn't it? I think from the point of view of trying to not get, you know, dirt and contamination into these casings, I think just the very lightest wipe over and get them back together as soon as, you know, quickly as I can. The axle shaft is oily, so I'm just going to put it straight in and let it go through that seal. There we go. That might not have been a good idea actually. Let's get it out again. I'm just going to clean that little bit there. Put a bit of grease on it, I suppose. So what I'm asking myself now is, do I want to put some sealant on the gasket? Well, it's bone dry. It hadn't leaked. That is bone dry there. So I think I'm just going to put it back together, or maybe a tiny bit where the where it got torn. I'll just put sealant basically around the lower half, the half where that's going to get the oil. Everything else is pretty dry. I've got a bit much there. If the heads are a bit undersized, a 14mm fits well on the 9/16. But if the heads are good, a 14mm sometimes doesn't want to go on. Okay, that's back together then. Well, really that's the end of the oil seal change job. Now it's just reassembly of the axle. So as far as the oil seals go, that's done. So what I'll probably do now, I won't bother filming it. I'll clean all the areas around the spring perches there, both the spring perches. I'll give it generally a bit of a dust over with a wire brush and a coat of paint, just so it looks nice. And I will make sure that that fill plug comes undone, because it looks a bit kind of rusty. But hopefully, you know, it's got oil on the other side, so it should be all right. Famous last words. Let's see if it comes undone. Okay, they're both loose now, so I can get the wire brush around there, because there's no oil in it, only you know, residual bits. Okay, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. Neat little job there, oil seals in the ends of the axle, and it's probably one of those that hardly anybody does, except those who, you know, are really trying to do a good job, because it's quite a big job getting all the axle out. It's just handy for me because I wanted to do other things around the axle as well. Okay, I'll get that cleaned and painted, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. There's the axle. Rudimentary clean up with a wire brush, a coat of forget about it red on it, and I just painted the area of the springs where the axle will fit, and those pieces there. When I put the axle on, all the areas that are getting bolted together will be clean and painted. Okay, that's kind of just reminding me that what I need to do is clean up the U-bolts. So I'll clean up the U-bolts and put a coat of paint on those as well. Hello, it's early the next morning and I'll put a splash of paint on the axle. I think I showed it in red as I finished last night, so there's a little bit of black paint on the axle. That's where the breather goes. And a little bit of paint there, and on the brackets. Excuse me, wanging the camera around, and then there's the U-bolts there, look. Yeah, so the axle can go back in. The only thing is, I'm thinking that because I've got to do, let's say, like a repair here, and you know, the sill and the inner bit that goes there, it might be an idea to leave the axle off for a little while to enable me better access in there to tackle these welding jobs. So I might put that to one side. I might not. I'm always at a little bit of a space, you know, got a bit of a space sort of conflict going on. So I might put it back on regardless. I don't know. I thought I'd show you this. This is that socket I used to get this heavily corroded nut off. You can see where the nut got rounded on the corners there. But I used this socket, which is like the inverse of a Torx. See, it's the Torx shape, but the other way around, and that hammered on. You can see where it hammered on there, look, and there, and there, and I managed to undo that, which is quite, you know, quite good really, isn't it, I suppose. Oops. I know you can get special sockets to do this job, but you know, I haven't got any of those, but I have got a set of these, and it did the job. Just thought I'd show that. It's early in the morning here, so I just wanted to get a coat of paint on there to kind of put myself ahead of the job. So I'll come back later and do a bit, and when I do, I'll bring you back. Hello. I've been working away quietly today, and I've put the back axle back in. I did think about leaving it out, but to be honest, just with the amount of space I've got, it makes more sense to get it back in. I've put it in. I've done all the U-bolts. Got the new U-bolts in, all done up. The ones that were slightly longer did tighten up. It's actually on the other side, that one, but that's in. Handbrake's back in place. That doesn't look right, does it? I'll have a closer look at that. Oh, there's the groove. Or is it? I can't really see. I think that's it, yeah. That's in now. So the brake pipes are done up. That connection is made under there as well. And it's back in, all painted. Looks alright actually. I only painted the springs where the axle attaches. Hubs are on, keyways are in place, nuts are tight. So that's the culmination of that little job, which was to change the seals in the end of the axle. The prop shaft is still hanging down because I've ordered a couple of new U-joints, so I'll change those as well at some point. Another little job knocked off the list. New oil seals fitted. Okay, thanks very much. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye.